All right, so here we are. Let's talk about glacial landforms that are erosional in nature. So this means that they actually removed material. So we're not adding anything to the system, we're actually removing something and creating some sort of landform. So the first one is going to be striations, and you'll see these grooves in that rock that are parallel or mostly parallel to one another. So as the ice flowed over this surface, it would have rock trapped in throughout the whole thing, but especially at the bottom there. And that kind of worked like sandpaper. So it would kind of leave these scratches as that rocky ice would flow right over that surface there. Then we look at glacial polish, and it's very similar. So this has to do with the overall weight of the ice over the top of it, as well as that rock material kind of trapped in it. It will kind of create like a nice fine powder underneath as everything is kind of breaking apart and turning into like kind of a silty, clayey mess at the bottom. And as that material kind of rubs over the top there, it's kind of like giving it this nice little like rock massage, and it polishes that surface. And then this is a U-shaped valley, which hopefully you can see here. So this nice U shape right in there, that's carved by ice. So water will carve more V shapes. So it'll be a nice crisp V where like at the very center of the point would be where the river would be. So it would create that kind of steeper V. But ice is able to get much wider in nature because it's going to flow much slower than water does. And so it carves out these really broad U's that you can see there. And the next feature is going to be called an arete. What you see is the arete is this kind of jagged, thin ridge in the background, and we're seeing like one face of that. And one glacier would have flowed on this side of that, kind of carving out this edge. And then on the back side, you have another glacier that would be flowing, carving out the other edge of that and leaving this nice sharp ridge. It's actually easier to see this kind of from the top down. And so this ridge right here, you can see the very top of it there. So there would have been a glacier over here and a glacier over here. But what's going to be even easier to see is in this view. So this is a topographic map with relief under it. So here's that one ridge there. So one glacier would have been over in here, one flowing away in this direction. We'd actually have another one up in here flowing kind of to the top of this page and leaving these really sharp ridges, and those are called aretes. Similarly, we have a cirque. So the aretes would be right in here, kind of on the top there, but this very starting bowl kind of shaped depression where the glacier would have just started right in here and then flowed right out over here is called a cirque. And so we'll see that again at the very end of this presentation. And then the Tarn, same picture, is just going to be a lake that fills that depression. So you have a cirque, and then if water fills it up once the lake is gone, or sorry, the glacier is gone, then you get a lake that fills that, and it's called a Tarn. Horn. So the most famous horn you probably know of is going to be the Matterhorn, and that actually exists in the Alps, but it also exists at Disneyland. So they're kind of copying that idea there. So that's just kind of fun here on the left-hand side. And you'll see it's kind of this jaggedy peak. Here's a horn in real life. So what that looks like. So it's where you're going to have 3 or more glaciers that came together. So one glacier would have started up in here, one over in this pocket, one on the back side, and it's left this really sharp peak there. And we can actually see that better again in this view where we've got these aretes coming up. You can see those nice sharp ridges and then the peak left over from the top. So we would have had a glacier in here, one in this side here, and then ice flowing off the sides there, leaving that nice sharp peak. And so this is going to be our hanging valley. So remember our U-shaped valley is right in here. So there'd have been a really big glacier that'd be occupying this space up to about right in here. And then you would have, or a little higher actually, kind of right in here. And then over on this side, I don't know if you can see another little U shape right in here. This would have been a small valley feeding into the bigger valley here. So a smaller little river of ice or glacier coming in here. And so because that was a smaller glacier, it did not cut down as deeply, so it wouldn't have cut down as deeply into here. And so when the ice melts away, you end up with this kind of hanging valley, so a valley that didn't cut as deep as the big glacial valley did. And so you get this nice waterfall off of there with this really steep kind of U shaped slope there where it's kind of a vertical face, and that's really typical to have that waterfall flowing off of there. And then these are called Paternoster lakes. And so these are tarns, which we already talked about, several of them. And so just in these depressions left over by ice. And so when we have several of them in a row, they get connected. We call them Paternoster lakes. And so this one last view I wanted to show, because you can see lots of things. The thing that shows up the best to me are the Aretes. So these nice sharp ridges, you see them all over the place in here. So hopefully you can pick those out. We also are getting these cirques, so these little bowl-shaped depressions up in here and here, lots of places over in here. And then these nice tarns that are occupying those spaces, and even some connection of those tarns, like in this little area here. So that would be our little Paternoster lakes. So, and then even kind of the U shape that you can tell, so really steep on either side of these valleys, super steep, and then it goes into this kind of flatter bottom because you get this nice U shape where that glacial ice flowed right through there. So hopefully that's a nice recap for you of your glacial landforms that are erosional in nature.